him personally. Presley, stop licking yourself. How dare you lick yourself while I'm recording this podcast? Don't make me snatch you out of that blanket. And I'll put you in this camera and I'll give you some fucking kisses. Is that what it is? You need some attention and affection and no misdirection, just love and kindness. Is that what it is? My furry big-eared friend that probably got Sirius XM radio signals on them antennas you got. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Because as I look here and I look at your beautiful little face that only God could have made because he's perfect in every way. And he made you perfect in his image. Yes, he did. I don't give a fuck what the Bible teaches people. But you're beautiful. Just like God, because God is beautiful and so are you. And I will never do anything to hurt you because I'm going to protect you. But when you lick yourself like that, I have these thoughts that aren't so perfect that say you need to stop licking yourself because I will go over there and I will chop them little things into nubs. I will chop them things on your feet, if they're called feet or paws, and it will be nubs. But I'll give you kisses while that happens. Not literally, but in a figurative sense. Okay, my love? Thank you. Thank you for chilling out. You're the best. Your papi loves you with all of his corazoncitos. Cielito lindo, mi niño, hermosillos. Okay?
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now. While the angels fly over my headstone.
We are back with another episode of the God's Hour podcast with your boy Big Cervelli, back in the place to be, La Merca Superior, Palace 81 Studios. We are live in effect, live and direct. It's your boy Mr. Nine Times. Yeah, man, so busy ass fucking weekend. When is it the weekend always busy? When am I not saying the same intro all the time? I don't know, but it was a great weekend, very productive weekend. I kind of, Saturday is kind of like, that's kind of my chill day, even though we didn't even really chill Saturday all that much. I completely forgot what I did Saturday, right? So maybe if I remember what I did Saturday, I'll talk to you about it, but pretty much I think, okay, so I know what it was. So I had some family over, my cousin, she recently had her baby, so they came over to, let us see the baby or whatever. I don't know if all cultures do this, but I guess in our culture at least, we all get together, we have food, they bring the baby, even though I didn't even see my, I think she has a boy, so I didn't even see my baby nephew, but it's very interesting because I've been a tío for quite some time now, and I don't know, the whole, the feeling of like, oh, I'm a tío is like already, that's just been gone because my niece is already, my favorite niece is definitely, why do people play favorites? I don't know. But for me, at least, she's my favorite niece because I like the love I spread is, and partly because I never really got that emotional, affectionate, like my parents never coddled me. So I felt like if I could do that, like I remember as a kid being like, I'm gonna be emotionally there for the people that need that from me, you know what I mean? Now kind of growing up, that's kind of like gone to the wayside, but at least when I was younger, I really did want to spread that love, and especially with my niece, I really had that bond with her, you know what I mean? And she was like a little ass kid, and now she kind of doesn't even really remember being a kid and around me and stuff like that. And I understand, when you're a kid, it's just like life passes by and you don't really like stop and look around whatever the quote is. But as time goes on, you kind of remember that shit. But I mean, at least I remember, I think as a kid, I remember more shit that I didn't like than I do like. So I don't know if that's everybody's, that's everybody's thing. But I know with my niece in particular, she kind of forgot all of that shit. And whatever. I kind of took it to heart like a year ago and shit. But now it's kind of like who cares, bro? Like, as long as I gave her like all the, all the love I could, and just like a family bond that I know that she, like, it's a whole, with her, it's a whole thing that she needs a father figure in her life. She needs male role models and shit like that. I mean, who doesn't need a male role model in their life? Just somebody to be like, hey, like, you're fucking up or whatever. Like, I feel like women are here to show you love, like unconditional love, and sort of like, women are here to show you love versus like, yeah, like women are here to nurture and to love and to support, right? And I feel like males are here to do that, a little bit of that too, but more so males are here to show you how the world is gonna work. Like, yeah, your mom showed you how it feels to be in the world, but this is how I'm gonna show you how it really is. Like, it ain't gonna be that. So I feel like as a man, men prepare their children to be in a world that's not gonna love you, because like, the world ain't gonna love you. The world is gonna take from you, and the world is gonna be doing things that your mom isn't. So that's really, I feel like, the dynamic of the parents in a household. So with them bringing the baby, I didn't even see the baby, but I already knew, like, my cousin was over here, like, just being like a knucklehead. Like, some people become adults, but they don't mature, right? And I'm not saying he's not matured. He's a grown ass man, but I'm just saying, like, he was over here, like, being a fucking, for lesser words, for lack of better words, a dickhead. And I was like, yo, stop fucking with the baby. Like, I just cut it right there. Like, just let it be known. Like, stop. Leave my fucking nephew alone. You know what I mean? And maybe that was a little harsh or whatever, but I'm very protective of my family. You know what I mean? I got a big Leo aspect in my astrological chart. Astrology, for all my fine astrological females out there. But yeah, something I believe in. But it was cool. We just kicking it Saturday. Didn't really do shit. My nieces from my cousin. Okay, so like both of my cousins came, right? The brother and sister, and then they have their kids. The cousin that was acting like a dickhead, he has kids. One of them is autistic, right? And I'm familiar with like the more quiet autistic, or I don't know. The autism spectrum is different, right? And shout out to all the kids out there that are gifted in this world, and not the commoner. You know what I mean? Like, I don't look at special needs and all that as like, oh, he's special, like we got to talk low around him and all that. Like, no, they're special, like, so we have to treat them special. Like, when you say hi to somebody and shit like that, or like just the way you treat somebody, you're not I'm not gonna treat you as if you're like a regular person. Like, no, you gotta, with these kids or with these people, you gotta give them they're gifted, so you gotta treat them as such, bro. Like, I could really give a fuck who thinks about what, but in today's world, this is why I'm so, you hear me talk a lot of this shit about society and respect and all this shit, because I see the way it affects my family, and I'm like, this is probably like not like, the way I look at my story is like, okay, well, there's at least 5 other people just like me that need people like me to speak for them. Like I'm the fucking preaching to the choir, right? So with my niece, she has autism, and they, my her parents, my cousin and my cousin-in-law, they didn't really give a fuck about treating her as if she's special. They treat her like she's a regular ass kid, which I think is fucking bullshit. They just give her an iPad and they treat her like, they don't treat her not even like the way I would, but it's just like, come on, bro. Like, they're just like, oh, like, well, like, you do your thing, which is like fucked up to me, bro, because she's a special kid and you're not treating her like she's a special kid. You're treating her like she's a normal kid. So I forgot what it was. She wanted something. Oh, it started because she wanted to play Monopoly on the table, but we had moved the big table over in the sala to the dining room so we could all eat together as a family. Well, when they told her you can't play Monopoly, she flipped out. Like she was, screaming and crying. And I'm not gonna parent nobody's kids. Like, number one, that's disrespecting the parents, but also too, like, bro, that's your kid, bro. You know what I mean? Because the moment I open my mouth and I get in an argument, then that's when I'm gonna throw a tantrum, because it's like, you're not gonna tell me that your own fucking daughter that has autism, you're not gonna tell me that you're not gonna treat them special. Like, that's crazy, bruh. So I couldn't even be in the room with them. Like it was like I had, like, just that alone had me like no anxiety. And I was like, okay, well, that's it, it's over. Like, even Presley, like, with all this shit, Presley was looking at me like, dog, let's get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm with you. And so we literally just escaped. We went back to the fucking back cave, the Serbs cave. You know what I mean? And I was just playing Borderlands, and then I think I called up JBL and we were talking. But that's one of the things I don't understand, is like, we don't even treat kids like if they're special. We just throw them to the wayside. Like, anybody with any sort of mental prowess, we just sort of be like, okay, well, that's their issue. Like, let them deal with it. And it's like, no, bro. Like, why can't we just all collectively get together and say, we're gonna, help this kid? But if the parents aren't even gonna do that, I can only do so much. You know what I mean? And if I know it's gonna be an issue with my own family, then I'm just not gonna. It's just like, I'm not even gonna deal with it, bro. Like, the best way I can deal with it is like detachment. That's always been my thing, and I know that. Like, I already know. Like, once I feel like these heavy emotions, I just detach. If they're like that bad, if they're like that serious with me. So I mean, it's not really a big deal, but it was just like, she threw a tantrum. And she's like on our sofa. She throws herself back. She smashes the back of her head against our wall. And she dents like the fucking drywall in. And don't get me wrong, I could punch the wall and fucking and put a dent in it, a hole in it or whatever. But bruh, you know how hard you gotta throw yourself? And she has to be like 9 years old or something like that. And she ate that shit like a champ. Like, I think she like hurt herself. She rubbed her head, but then it was on to like whatever, the fucking Animal Farm on the iPad or whatever. And it really had me pause for concern, because I'm just like, what? Like, no one's going to say anything. No one's going to do anything. So to me, this is just a day in the life of this family right here. And that's why it's so crucial when you have your own family that you raise them correctly and you give them what they need. You guide them in the right steps, and you let them know that it's okay and that you're always going to be there for them, special or not. You know what I mean? They don't have to fucking, they could fucking have alopecia. They can have whatever, like, you know what I mean? Just being there for your kid is everything, bro. And I know what it's like to emotionally need your parents and they not be there. Now, granted, the reason why I never really had that emotional support was because I was raised around my grandmother most of the time because my parents were always working. So that you get a pass for, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is with their family and shit. I'm just going to speak on my family real quick. I was always with my grandma, and my grandma, I might as well have been raised like kind of like my parents, because my grandma was like, ain't playing none of that shit, bro. Like none of that coddle shit at all. And then when I was with my parents, it was like the same thing. So I just kind of got used, like I got like the way I survive, like the coping mechanisms and shit like that is a lot like my parents, you know what I mean? So I'm definitely like, that's why I say I'm like first generation, because like my mom is from Mexico, my dad's from here, he's from East LA, but it was just more so like I grew up more like them than these kids. So I already know that's not a good idea. Like, how is letting your fucking child be on the phone 24/7? They didn't even talk, like my nieces didn't talk to me one time. Autism or not, I don't give a fuck, bro. These are social skills that these kids need to learn. I learned social skills. I wasn't, thank God, I had my mom to be, with me and mommy and me, and we learned social skills and all that shit. So really at a young age, I really learned to be around different people and things like that. But at the same time, I also learned to be by myself. So I don't know if I definitely learned how to be by myself more than other kids. But when I was younger, I definitely was like well socialized, I feel. But just growing, but like as I got older, it was like I would be alone more so. And then, some other shit started happening. So in life, man, I don't ever feel like you stop growing, but it's just more so like as a kid, you need those people around you that are going to take care of you. And if you don't, man, it's just like, I already see it with my favorite niece. It's already like, I already see it going like somewhere else with it that I don't like, you know what I mean? But like I said, like she's somewhere else. She's all the way the fuck. Like, it's not like she lives around the corner or the next city over, or else I'd be with her all the time. But it's just like, there's so many variables within the family dynamics where people don't want, like your own family members don't even like you. So it's like you being over there and trying to be around them and try to like let them know that fucking, you got to teach your kids right, is almost insulting, you know what I mean? I like you already know you're gonna insult them, so it's like, why even take it there, So that was Saturday. Sunday, me and Chava recorded the whole fucking day, you know what I mean? It was crazy. Like, I didn't even know that this fool, we knocked out like a whole, like almost a whole album's worth of music out, and it was crazy. It was wildfire. Like, he rapped to one of my beat tapes, and he kept rapping and rapping and rapping like beat after beat. I said, yo, did you like rhyme over the whole beat tape? And he was like, yeah, kind of. Like, so it was fire. He knocked that out, knocked another song out, knocked another song out. Then we wrote and did a whole song for the Valentine's Day album. So we just not like, that was probably the most productive session that me and him have ever done together. I think I don't even have my glasses, but I'm so used to, but I think we probably done recorded like maybe 2 or 3 songs in one session, but that right there, we recorded like 7-8 joints, like easy. It was crazy. It was awesome. Just verses too, like not even like no complete songs, like 2 verses a hook, because that would have been like way more. But it was enough for me to be like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, we got a lot of work done. We knocked a lot of shit out. And his goal, it's funny because all last year I dropped a fucking a project every month. And I'm like, never again am I going to do that. And he's trying to do that now. And I'm like, I told him straight up, you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna be halfway. You're gonna be like, fuck, this is a lot of work, because it is. And I don't know, for me at least, it was way too much. It was like, because I was trying to make beats while recording albums. Like, for him, I think it would be easier because all he has to do is focus on writing. I was trying to write, record, make beats, and do different albums with different producers. So it just, the work is more demanding when you're like executive producing and writing and rapping at the same fucking time. You know what I mean? The beat tapes are cheat codes. You know, it's easy when you're just doing one thing, when you're just writing. And I'm not saying it's easy by any means. I'm just saying it's easier when you just have one thing to do. You know, and I got to engineer and I got to produce everything myself, versus him. I pull up, he knocks everything out, and we do it in one session. Like, we could knock a whole album out in a day because I'm ready to go, he's ready to go with the raps, and we could just bang it out like that. But when you're doing all of that, when you're fulfilling all of those roles, it's just a lot more difficult, you know what I mean? But if he wants to do it, I told him, I'm like, I'm down. He already knows I'm down with whatever. I'm D4 dub, dog, down for whatever. So, I wanted to do something special. I'm gonna cut you. Nah. I got this vinyl. Oh, shit. Hopefully no one saw the Addy. I got this vinyl. So we're just gonna fucking cut it the fuck open and see what we got inside. The session I had with Chava was awesome. It was just like, I can't wait for y'all to hear what we came up with, but it's a mystery, I suppose. I make myself laugh. It's a mystery, I suppose. Okay, I was gonna say this shit look bent. We got SD Nax live at the Tabernacle, right? Boom, you can see it live at the Tabernacle. Produced by Mike Shab. I thought they were gonna number it. No, what is this? Oh, they did. Number 30 out of 107. That's right. And which one did I get? I don't even know which vinyl I got. I just know that it was I paid good money for it. I know that. So if I pay good money for this shit, it better be some good shit. And I know Raz Fresco, shout out to him. He's all up and down this shit. So we got Dodge Caravan, Stove Got Cooks on it, Black Babies, Uncle John, Horacio with Rome Streets, Black Roses featuring Mike Shab, and Raz Fresco, Dominican Beaches, God Cypher 1, Raz Fresco on it, God Cypher 2 with Raz Fresco in the 6th letter, and God Cypher 3, Raz Fresco 6th letter, and Mike Shab raps, I don't know, Knacktown, Stomp the Yard, Thunder, Street Creatures featuring The Hidden Character and Al Divino, Bourgeoisie featuring Raz Fresco, Wake Up, and The Art is by Hubs. High key, this looks like it was all done in crayon, or I don't know if it was painted. It kind of does look like digital though. It kind of looks like a hand painted style, but like digital. I don't know if that makes sense, but it doesn't look to me it looks like if it's not painted. If that makes sense. But if it is, shout out to them. I don't mean no disrespect. I'm just saying, like, it just, in my opinion. Ooh, this is nice. So this is definitely not what I thought I ordered. The color, I thought I ordered a different color, but that's fine. This reminds me of like jade. So that's cool. I mean, I thought I was getting the blue one. I don't know. Hey, who gives a fuck? So maybe I'll listen to this later. I'm definitely gonna record it in, and maybe I'll review the album. SDNAC, man. I was trying to get you on the God's Hour, man. What's up with that, man? I'm over here supporting you, and you ain't even trying to answer my messages, bro. What's up with that? Whatever. Rest in peace to Gaston Glock. Yes. So if you don't know, Mr. Gaston Glock, inventor of the Glock pistol firearms, he recently passed away. And let me pull up some specs on the homie, because this man is the biggest innovator since John Browning. If you don't know who John Browning is, he invented the 1911, the Browning pistol, a lot of great firearms that to this day they copy. Like the 1911 was made in 1911, and guess what? There's a shitload of companies that make 1911 style pistols. So Gaston Glock was born on July 19th, 1929. He passed away December 27th, 2023. He was 94. An Austrian engineer and businessman. He founded the company Glock and developed the Glock pistol in 1982. Which means he was what? 60? Right? No. My math is off. He was in his 50s. Became one of the most influential and popular light firearms of the 20th century. So if you don't know anything about Glocks are polymer frame pistols, which they did have, but not really in like excess. Like you couldn't, like at the time, I think HK was the first company to make the first polymer frame pistol, but I don't think they were like out there. Cause HK is expensive, bro. Like all their shit is expensive. I don't know why. It's like HK to me is like the Louis Vuitton of fucking firearms. I think everyone, if you're not familiar with HK, they're the company that makes the MP5. So if you don't know what the MP5 is, you obviously don't play Call of Duty, which I respect. So from what I understand, Gaston Glock was, yeah, right. He did furniture. So he was a manufacturer of curtain rods in the 60s, knives for the Austrian military in the 70s. He did not design or manufacture a firearm until he was 52. So that's wild. He already had experience with polymers, and in his previous business ventures in 1980, he bought an injection molding machine to manufacture handles and sheaths for the field knives he was making for the Austrian army in his garage workshop. His earliest employees were from the camera industry and experienced in producing polymer components. His first production pistol was the Glock 17. That's that right there. I don't know if you can see it, but shout out to Glock. Actually, I'm gonna pull my Glocks out. Fantastic Mr. Glock. So yeah, these are Glocks right here. This is the Glock 19. This is the Glock 17. This is actually the first model that Glock had made. Mr. Glock made. The first production pistol was a Glock 17. It took 1 year to design and produce, and he applied for its Austrian patent in April 1981. Now, these are probably my favorite 9mm pistols. Just a quick backstory. When I bought this one, I was 23. So my dad didn't like it. He was like, "Who's coming after you? What's going on?" You know what I mean? He was fucking furious about it. You know what I mean? But I was like, "Dog, like I got it. So fuck it, let's rock." You know what I mean? So, and I don't know if you can see, but if you could look at the rough texture on the 19 and on the 17 is smooth. That's because the 19, I got it. They call it I got a stipple work done on it, which makes the texture more rough. So if you could see, the texture's rough on it, and that allows you a better grip. So when you pull and you come out, boom, you're ready to rock. So if, God forbid, you get shot, you get blood on your hands or whatever, you're sweating and shit, or you're nervous, you're not going to be, your fingers aren't going to be sliding, versus with this frame, it'll easily slip out and shit. more easier, right? So let's see. Let's look more on Mr. Glock's life. In July 1999, Glock suspected that Charles Ewert, one of his closest financial advisors, had been embezzling funds. Glock confronted Ewert, who hired a French mercenary to murder Glock with a rubber mallet in a car park. In an attempt to make it look like an accident, Glock was hit in the head, but was able to fight back, punching the man until he collapsed on top of Glock. Both Ewert and the assassin were convicted of attempted murder and sent to prison. That's crazy. That's wild. Dog. Bro, this is why you gotta, like, your accountants and financial advisors and shit. That's why you really need an accountant for your accountants, bro. That's crazy. There's so many horror stories I know of accountants stealing money that they do it all the time. I remember I knew this Afghanistan veteran, real dope. He was a really dope dude. He never liked talking about any of his military experience over there, but I asked him. It's crazy because he knew everything. Like I told him, because we worked in at a factory that produced phones, right? So all our job was loading a container full of phones, and these weren't like cheap ass phones. These were all like the new iPhones, the new Samsungs or whatever. So I asked him. I'm like, yo, dog. Let's just say I took this can of phones and I went to Mexico and I just ended up selling them and shit for half price. And he goes, well, you know what I mean? That's fucking interstate lines. That's a felony. That's this. But he told me for every phone that's a count. So you're looking at like, we had like $2 million worth of phones in this container. He was like, and every phone is like one felony count. So you're looking at like 1,000 you basically like, you're never going to see the light of day type shit. And that blew my mind. Once he broke that shit down to me, whatever criminal thoughts I had from when I was younger of being a fucking petty thief were gone. I was like, yo, my straight, narrow, clean life is way more valuable than me trying to cut corners. Anytime you cut corners, you're going to hit a wall, right? So I was just like, all the ideas I had were fucking gone. After but I mean, I was just seriously gonna, I thought about swiping a phone and shit like that. I used to do that. I used to, swipe phones from people and shit. Don't tell nobody. But, it was like, I wasn't gonna take no phones over there, right? So, which is funny because like at our company that ended up happening, somebody ended up stealing phones and then they probably ended up getting caught. I mean, there's cameras all around, guys. If you think you're going to get away with crimes nowadays, whatever it is, selling dope, whatever, stealing, it's not going to fucking work, pause. But what I was going to say about the financial advisor shit, I asked this guy, who do you think the most successful criminals are? And he said, I think he said like corporation accountants or something like that. But basically they're accountants. And he's like, what they do is they take 1 penny from everyone's check every time they get paid. And I was like, you can't look through that? And he was like, yeah, there's a paper trail, but do you know how hard it is for people to notice 1 penny missing from their check? It's probably not even possible for you to notice one. Like, who's gonna notice a penny from their check gone? Nobody. And so you just stack them pennies, dog, and pretty soon you still 1 penny every week or whatever it is from every check, from every employee. You're looking at like because those are the people that play the long games, like career criminals. You're getting a grip load of money like at some point, right? Shit, I dropped my phone. I gotta get a new phone, bro. My shit is a brick, bro. Shit is a brick, bro. So let's go back to Mr. Glock. Glock engaged in racketeering? What? Glock donated over 1 million, it looks like euros, in Austrian charities. He also gave funds to the Freedom Party of Austria. Glock was described as a reclusive Austrian billionaire who avoided publicity and valued his privacy despite his famous invention. Yeah, well, if you're fucking involved in racketeering, motherfuckers, you gotta move like the mafia, dog. So, and it's funny because I was looking at Hickok 45's video. Shout out Hickok 45. When you're down there in Tennessee and where freedom is live. Yeah, I like that shit. Glock and racketeering. Glock racketeering. Paul Francis Januzzo is an American lawyer and business executive. He is the former CEO of Glock Incorporated and was found guilty of racketeering involving embezzlement and theft of a firearm from the company. Wow. Okay, let's look at the Seattle Times. Okay, hold on. March 28, 2017. Judge dismisses suit accusing Glock founder of racketeering. A federal judge in Atlanta has dismissed a lawsuit accusing the founder of the company that makes Glock pistols of conspiring to steal millions with his ex-wife. Wow. More than 350 pages long, the suit initially filed by Helga Glock in October 2014 included salacious allegations and drew unflattering comparisons between Gaston Glock and Shakespeare's King Lear. Is that like a book? Okay, or a play? It accused Gaston Glock, his associates, and related companies of participating in a decades-long worldwide racketeering scheme to take money from Helga Glock through improper royalty payments, laundering money through fraudulent billing companies, and sham lease and loan agreements. Wow, that's fucking interesting. U.S. District Judge Thomas Thrash wrote in an order last week that Helga Glock, an Austrian citizen and resident, didn't suffer harm to her business or property in the U.S., meaning she can't bring a racketeering claim here. Yeah, like, what? Wouldn't that just be like, I don't know, stealing? I don't stealing? I don't know. We respectfully disagree with the trial court's ruling, John DeGrossa Smith, an attorney for Helga Glock, wrote in email Tuesday. He added that they intended to appeal to the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Lawyers for Gaston Glock, who lives in Austria, did not immediately respond to an email. Okay, all right. The lawsuit sought damages of approximately $500 million and asked the judge to remove Gaston Glock and others from their roles in the company, reorganize the companies owned by Glock, and restore a large ownership of interest for Helga Glock. Helga and Gaston Glock started a company in 1963 that eventually became a gun manufacturer called Glock GES MBH in 1983, and 2 years later, Gaston Glock established a U.S. subsidiary in Smyrna. Is that how? Smyrna, just outside Atlanta. According to the lawsuit, the U.S. subsidiary quickly became a major economic driver for the company as its pistols became popular among law enforcement officers and civilians alike. Gaston Glock and his associates set up a network of sham companies around the world to hide money from Helga Glock, his wife and business partner, and then demanded trust and used intimidation to avoid her questions. Wow. He created foundations and convinced her and their children to contribute their assets and waive inheritance rights. What? Ostensibly to benefit them and protect their families' control of the company. After the parent divorce in 2011, Gaston Glock removed his wife and 3 adult children as beneficiaries of the foundations and said that they and their descendants could not have any further association with the company. Holy shit! Glock's actions toward his family resembled the senseless and self-destructive rage of Shakespeare's King Lear when he foolishly mistreats a loyal but candid daughter, Cordelia, in favor of cunning and ruthless flatterers. The lawsuit said perhaps neither pathology nor psychology can provide a satisfactory explanation for why an aging billionaire would spend his twilight years seeking to terrorize members of his own family. Well, that right there. Shit, did I fuck up my own computer? Well, that's crazy, bruh. So basically what he did was, if I'm getting this correct, he basically cut his own family out of his company, right? So I'm not even going to talk about embezzlement or anything like that. It's pretty clear that he didn't want his family in his company, and he tried to find loopholes to do it, allegedly. So the way I feel about that is it's pretty wild. You know what I mean? I don't know what they did for Mr. Gaston Glock to cut them out of his company, but who knows, man? It seems like a personal issue to me. I'm not gonna go out the window and say any crazy shit like that, but like, bro, if you're moving a certain way, you're gonna do certain things, right? And me personally, I'm gonna build my business for my children to take on, so the legacy lives on. Because it's like, when it becomes a corporation and it goes like, you know, public or whatever, then it's not like whoever could run it, you know what I mean? Fucking Uncle Sam could run it or whatever, right? So that's wild. Me personally, I already know how it feels like to just not want to be around your family for whatever reason. So it's fucking his company now. It's not just his company, it was his wife's company that they had in 1963. So that's a little different, you know what I mean? I don't know how the marriage laws work in Austria, but it's like over here, your wife gets half of everything. That's why I'm so careful about having babies or marrying or doing any some sort of serious committed relationship, because it's like, I already know how quickly this shit can end up. And yeah. So I mean, if he made this decision and he wanted to go through with it, obviously he waited until he felt like, okay, well, at any point I could pass away. Like, you know, 2011, you're talking 10 years ago, he was in his fucking 70s. Yeah, at that point you're like, okay, well, it's time to start wrapping this shit up. And that's when he probably started like being like, fuck it, like, dog, like, you're not going to get shit, bro. I don't know what it is. I don't know but that's what it seemed like to me. Like, he was just like ready to wrap things up. This is how I want to leave my legacy, and you're not going to be entitled to anything. So just fuck off. Right. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not gonna, you know, sugarcoat the shit. That's just what it is. And in my opinion, if that's what he wanted to do, that's what he wanted to do. Like, all the personal shits like that, that's like on, you know, him personally. Presley, stop licking yourself. How dare you lick yourself while I'm recording this podcast? Don't make me snatch you out of that blanket, and I'll put you in this camera, and I'll give you some fucking kisses. Is that what it is? You need some attention and affection and no misdirection, just love and kindness. Is that what it is? My furry big-eared friend that probably got Sirius XM radio signals on them antennas you got. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Because as I look here and I look at your beautiful little face that only God could have made, because he's perfect in every way. And he made you perfect in his image. Yes, he did. I don't give a fuck what the Bible teaches people. But you're beautiful. Just like God, because God is beautiful and so are you. And I would never do anything to hurt you, because I'm going to protect you. But when you lick yourself like that, I have these thoughts that aren't so perfect that say you need to stop licking yourself, because I will go over there and I will chop them little things into nubs. I will chop them things on your feet, if they're called feet or paws, and they will be nubs. But I'll give you kisses while that happens. Not literally, but in a figurative sense. Okay, my love? Thank you. Thank you for chilling out. You're the best. Your papi loves you with all of his corazoncitos. Cielito lindo, mi niño, hermosillos. Okay? So, random. Yeah. So I was gonna talk about more shit. Maybe we'll talk about it later. I already talked about Greenlight 3.5. So maybe we'll talk about. I have a lot to talk about. But yeah, we'll end it on that note. Message of the day is your family is your family. So you gotta love them and support them like they are your family, right? You know, everyone's gonna have discrepancies. Everyone's gonna have drama. Everyone's gonna go through that. Well, what are you gonna do about it? Are you just gonna fucking sit by the wayside and be a bitch about it and sulk and fucking have attitudes with these people? Or are you just gonna say, you're gonna be like, fuck it, and you're gonna deal with it your own way? You're going to figure it out. You're going to say, fuck it. You're going to pick your battles. You're going to say, you know what? You're an asshole, but I love you anyway. And you can either get the fuck away from me, or we can only be around each other during Christmas, whatever, right? Figure it out. Your family is always going to be for you, there for you, the ones that are going to be there for you. So be there for them, right? Don't ever take that for granted. Don't ever take love for granted. The people who love you, you got to love them. You got to take care of them. They take care of you. You take care of them, right? And with that, this is the God's Hour.
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now.
While the angels fly over my headstone.